2025 Hyundai Ioniq 6 is comfortably weird. There aren't many sedan EVs in this part of the market. But behind its extrovert styling, the Ioniq 6 makes a strong case for itself. If there is a car that exemplifies the idea that it's better to be memorable than loved, this is it. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 looks weird, for better or for worse. So weird, in fact, that Hyundai has revised the front end and headlights as part of a 2026 model year mid-cycle update, while teasing a forthcoming high-performance end version. But the sedan format could be just as much a reason for the Ioniq 6's middling popularity as its styling, given the long-term sales trends toward crossovers. In any case, Hyundai sells nearly 3 times as many of the boxy Ioniq 5 hatchback as it does the sedan. Yet, while the Ioniq 6 lacks the cargo versatility of a 2-box design, there is still plenty to like about it. Dubbed the lowdown, the Ioniq 6 rides on the same eGMP platform as the Ioniq 5, the Kia F6, and the Genesis GB60. Its wheelbase is 2 inches shorter than the Ioniq 5, but it is 7.8 inches longer in length. The electric sedan is 2 inches taller than the Elantra, but that difference seems greater, making the 6 high enough for visibility in modern traffic. The stubby front end also offers a panoramic view forward. There are 3 powertrain configurations in the Ioniq 6. A standard range rear-wheel drive with a 53.0 kWh battery pack and 149 horsepower. An extended range rear-wheel drive with a 77.4 kWh pack and 225 horsepower, and an all-wheel drive version with the extended pack and 320 horsepower from Two Motors. The standard range model comes in SAE trim, while the extended range versions can be optioned up to SEL or limited specification. The EPA-rated range span goes from a minimum of 240 miles to as many as 342 miles, depending on battery and tire size. We tested a long-range all-wheel drive model on 20-inch wheels with an estimated 270 miles of range, based on the updates to the 2025 Ioniq 5. Battery capacity and range should increase slightly for the 2026 Ioniq 6. How does it drive? Because EVs are more common in a taller, crossover orientation. The car-like feeling of the Ioniq 6 is a novelty. That's good. It has excellent body control. Although the ride bobbled on some of the washboard surfaces I drove it on. And the big wheels had the familiar tire slap noise over expansion joints. That comes with a high curb weight and low sidewall. Wind noise on the highway was in middle pitch that easily faded into the mental background. With 320 horsepower, the Ioniq 6 leaped off the line in typical EV fashion, eliciting giggles from both children riding in the back seat, as well as my inner child. At higher speeds, the acceleration trailed off. A reminder that this is more of a daily driver type of car than a performance model. That's reflected in the all-season tires, which give up grip quickly. But it's not dull. It took very little effort to persuade the tail to step out gently under power, and even flying into a corner. The Ioniq 6 slid in a pleasantly neutral way. The steering is precise but lacks feedback and bite. 2 things that will most likely improve with more aggressive rubber, or the transformation into the more aggressive Ioniq 6 in a bonus of the sedan profile is lower. Drag, which yields higher range compared to taller crossovers. But in my test car, that was highly dependent on exterior temperatures. At just above freezing on a late spring morning, I saw an estimated 165 miles of range displayed at 80% charge. Well short of 4/5 of the EPA number. At 60 degrees Fahrenheit, ambient temperature things drastically improve. With 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour showing on the trip computer after an 80-mile round trip. Of mostly highway travel right in line with the official 279-mile range. What's it like to live with? As far as looks are concerned, the Ioniq 6 is a car that never gets old. Every time I approached, there was an angle or detail that seemed brand new. And it looks like nothing else. The incongruous weirdness to the style works here, at least for me. The inside is also a styling win, full of interesting shapes and textures, but still clean and functional. The glass roof gave it a sense of openness, and there's plenty of rear seat room. This is an easy car to get in and out of, as the seats are positioned close to hip height and the contours are relatively flat. With a trunk lid that opens almost fully vertical, it's easy to access the main cargo hold. The 11.2 cubic feet of space seems larger than that number suggests. And the seats fold for additional room. I was able to fit a large snowboard that barely poked into the main cabin. Charging, an area where the Hyundai Group's EVs typically excel, went fine. I saw more than 220 kilowatts of fast charge power even at chilly outside temperatures. That's below the claimed maximum of 350 kilowatts, a peak figure that depends on multiple favorable conditions, but still fast enough to minimize the stress of public charging. There are some minor complaints to do with the screens. The main instrument cluster uses a lot of real estate to show basic information, with the battery charge and range confined to a small corner. And the rectangular screen is blocked by the circular steering wheel depending on the adjustment, hiding critical information like the speed limit indicator. I also had a few niggles with the main infotainment screen. Mostly that the seat heater controls, likely the first button you want on a cold morning, is 2 clicks away once the system takes several seconds to boot up. And finally, the door handles stay propped up anytime the car is unlocked, which is a good reminder to keep the Ioniq 6 locked, but also advertises that any passers-by could open the door. Should I buy one? If you want an EV and prefer a conventional car to an SUV or a crossover, the Ioniq 6 is a solid pick in a thin field and one of the 2 options that starts under $50,000. The other being the Tesla Model 3. Among the Ioniq 6's several advantages over the Tesla is in a pillar shaped to minimize the blind spots in the front corners. And for the sedaniverse, the Ioniq 6 is less of a compromise coming down from an SUV than you might think. There's no lack of seating room, the cargo area is versatile, and you get more range for your dollar. Highlights and lowlights love. Great forward visibility, unforgettable styling inside and out, spacious rear seat legroom. We don't, inefficient. Instrument cluster design. Too many controls that rely on the TOUCHSCRE and no wireless Apple CarPlay. Favorite detail, the blind spot warning system in the Ioniq 6 works after the car is turned off to tell you if there's an approaching car when you open the door to exit. A great idea.